Okay, so we're looking now at a disarticulated sphenoid bone thanks to our exploded or disarticulated skull. And here we see that, again, it reminds me of a moth. And the moth has, antennae. The moth has legs. The moth has wings, and the moth has a body, if you will, and a head. Well, the antennae of the moth are the lesser wings of the sphenoid bone. The wings of the sphenoid bone are, in fact, called the greater wings. You'll notice here's the superior orbital fissure. Does everybody see these cracks? Those are the same superior orbital fissures I just showed you with the frontal view of the skull. So where I'm putting my fingers right now on these guys is the same as me putting my fingers right down in the back of the orbit of the skull. So again, this takes some time looking at it many different angles to get it. Now, the sphenoid bone, the structures that you're responsible for, again, are the lesser wing, the greater wing, the superior orbital fissure. Oh, and look at that very round, beautifully round structure right there. And I'm putting that through. What is that called?
Optic.
Optic canal. Okay, that's for cranial, specifically for cranial nerve 2. You will not, of course, need to give me what nerves go through what. We're not there yet. We haven't studied nerves. Eventually we will be there, and then you're going to have to tell me that. Okay. Then we have I would call this the body, if you will, of the sphenoid bone. And inside here, these holes don't exist, just to let you know. They just made those so you can see that there's a sinus that in fact sits there. And that's this sinus here. Here's the sphenoid bone, right? And here's the, let's move it this way. So the sphenoid bone is sitting like this. We cut that in half. You would see this where this contains the sphenoidal sinus, and that's it right there. Okay? These are the pterygoid processes again. These are the legs. This is the posterior region of the sphenoid bone. You see those guys right there. And if I look at a posterior view again, kind of inferior posterior view of the skull, here's my pterygoid processes here and here. So I understand it's a funky bone, and there's a lot of views that you can see that in. Be prepared to either be tested on parts of the sphenoid bone from the actual skull, and of course, as you can see evidence of last year, be prepared that you're able to pick out parts of the sphenoid bone when it's disarticulated. And then as far as the ethmoid bone is concerned, I'm not a huge fan of that ethmoid bone. So let's just say this, the disarticulated one. If I test you on ethmoid bone structures, I will test you when the ethmoid bone is embedded within the skull. I will not test you on the ethmoid bone of the exploded skull. It's just not detailed enough for me. Okay? Can you push stop, please? Okay, so I forgot fossas and I forgot foramen. Okay? So ready? Anterior, middle, posterior cranial fossa. How easy is that? Guess what? Anterior, middle, posterior lobes of the brain sit or housed with that, right? Okay, so let's look at foramen. The ones that you need to know are the carotid canal and the jugular foramen. And for that, it's easiest, the view that I'm going to choose is here. But of course, on a test, I'm going to stick a pipe cleaner. So you can look at it from this view, you can turn it around, look at it from that view. It's completely up to you. All right? Carotids. The arteries are round. They hold their shape. Veins are flaccid. They don't hold their shape. You see this nice rounded structure right here? Everybody see that? That's the carotid canal, and there's two of them. Now this doesn't go straight through. It takes a very sharp left turn and then goes through. So you're not going to be able to see this from the opposite end. Just FYI. The jugular, everybody look, if you go posterior and a little lateral to the carotid canals on each side, you're going to see this kind of this oval-ish opening at the tip of the pointer, and that is the jugular foramen. Internal jugular vein goes through that guy. Okay. The other foramen that you guys need to know are the foramen magnum. If anybody gets that wrong, I'm not going to feel sorry for you. And then there's also the lacerum and the ovale. Now look, do you guys see this one that's very oval? That's the ovale. Yay. That is actually part of the sphenoid bone, by the way. And then we have the lacerum, which is this round structure here at the tip of the pointer. So it's literally on both sides of the occipital bone. Lacerum, ovale, carotid canal. It's not a foramen because, again, it goes through, it takes a left-hand turn. And then this is the jugular foramen right there. You don't need to know the spinosum, and that's this little tiny doodad at the tip of the pointer. That is not included. Of course, you know, all of these holes, as you may expect, passageway for blood vessels and nerves.
And no rotundum either.
Rotundum, no, thank you. Rotundum is not needed as well. Okay. That's it. Jody, will you hit that, please? Thank you.